I would like to announce that for the first time ever, WrestleMania will be held outside of the United States and Canada. In 2027, we are proud to announce that WrestleMania 43 will take place in Saudi Arabia as part of Riyadh season.
You may have heard by now, but WWE is coming to Saudi Arabia for WrestleMania in 2027, and it comes with a whole lot of controversy. Obviously, the WWE relationship with the Saudi regime has been a point of emphasis for WWE critics for well over the past 7 years. And the reality is that as much as people like me may not like it, WWE just stands too much to gain monetarily. So if they are going to put on this show, and we all know it is going to be an absolute spectacle, as WWE likes to say, why not take a look at what WWE might have in store for us when they bring WrestleMania to Riyadh in 2027. Buckle up, everyone, because I've got 5 of the boldest predictions for WrestleMania 43 live from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. I'm Big Ohm for Real Take Wrestling. Be sure to smash that thumbs up, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let's get that Arab money and dive right in. My first bold prediction here has to do with retirements. Well, actually, unretirements. Over the past few years, we've had a slew of major WWE names retire for one reason or another. You have the likes of John Cena and The Undertaker, who were just around for a very long time, and it was just time for them to go away. But then you also have the likes of Triple H, who was forced to retire due to an unfortunate heart issue that he faces in his life. And I think all 3 of those guys are going to come back at WrestleMania 43 for Saudi Arabia. We're starting off red hot, and I have reasons as to why. Number 1, The Undertaker, I think, is the easiest name to basically lock in for WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. I think that The Undertaker, if you saw him in that press conference with Turkey El Sheikh, where they were kind of twinning there, it feels like WrestleMania and The Undertaker are 2 things that are synonymous with each other. It feels like the Saudi regime just loves The Undertaker. Turkey El Sheikh seems to be a major fan of him personally. So I think that what's going to end up happening is you have WWE, which is getting paid like $200 million for this one event. A good portion of that is probably going to go over to the dead man to try to get him out of retirement. And I think it'll be successful. Undertaker has an affinity for Saudi Arabia. We've seen him go to dinners. We've seen him go out there and even go to the pitch in front of Ronaldo for games. So in my view, I think that The Undertaker is going to be there. I think that there's a reason why all of those names who were at that press conference earlier last year were there. It is because Saudi Arabia knows who they want. They know they want The Undertaker. They know they want Cody Rhodes. They know they want people like Liv Morgan and others there, even though they don't necessarily want other women to have freedom there in their own country. But that's a whole different issue that I will not get into. But the point is, The Undertaker, I think, is the easiest bet to lock in. And as far as bold predictions go, it is the least bold on this entire list. Because next, I'm going to hit you with Triple H. Now, Triple H is probably the boldest name on this list of people who I think will unretire and officially wrestle at WrestleMania. But I think that wrestling, of course, in WWE means a whole different thing than it did just a couple of years ago. Now WWE has fully embraced the idea of doing cutscenes. They've fully embraced the idea of doing pre-filmed promos, sometimes even pre-filmed matches. So to me, I'm looking at the situation and saying, well, if that is already part of the norm, there are certainly ways to work around Hunter's limitations, if you will, in the ring. And this is not me saying I want Triple H to wrestle. I mean, the man has a defibrillator in his chest. I don't think he should wrestle. I don't think he probably wants to wrestle. But at the same time, he is in a position where if the Saudi regime asks him and demands him, it's he's probably going to have to give a yes. And if he does, I think it will be in a way that at least makes him look good. And look, whether it's a match or him just getting involved physically in something, I think we'll see. But I do think somehow, some way, someone's getting pedigreed at WrestleMania 43 by Triple H. And that is something that none of us would have ever believed that would happen just a couple of years ago. But that, of course, is the magic of Saudi Arabia. Now we go to my final unretirement on this list, John Cena. Many of you know John Cena set to retire December of 2025. He announced a year prior that he would have his final run, his final year, a set number of dates, and that was it. After that, no more John Cena. And it is a promise he made to the WWE Universe, and a promise I am sure that he plans on keeping until he gets that check from Saudi Arabia for like $15 million. And then he says to his wife, "You can't see me because I'm going on a plane to Saudi Arabia." Look, as much as I truly believe that John Cena is a man of his word, and I think that the likelihood of him unretiring from wrestling to do a Saudi show is lower than I think most people would have it at. Like I said, I think The Undertaker is basically a lock compared to John Cena. But at the same time, I would not put it past John Cena looking at the amount of money that they are offering and saying, well, the show isn't canon technically, because as we know, WWE tends to treat these Saudi shows a little bit different than all of the other shows. Hell, Braun Strowman, if we're counting it, is a Royal Rumble winner, but no one really thinks he's a Royal Rumble winner. Bryan Danielson has the record for longest time in a Royal Rumble, but no one ever brings that up every January. So if we're going by what is and isn't canon, I think John Cena might be able to convince himself to do that. And if he does come out of retirement, I think the match that they are going to do would be Cena and The Rock. And I will get to why that might be the case later on in my video, just to give you guys a little hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, too sweet into what I have cooking up later. You know, one question that I'm sure a lot of wrestling fans have is, how do I get tickets to Saudi Arabia's WrestleMania? And while I personally don't have the answer to that right now, one thing I can tell you is that the best place to get tickets in your local town is SeatGeek. Let me talk to you for a minute. SeatGeek, in my view, is the best sports ticketing app out there. It rates your tickets so you know precisely the kind of deal that you are getting. And today, I am going to save you $20 off your first purchase with SeatGeek when you sign up using the promo code REALTAKE. There it is in all its glory right there. You don't even need to do anything. Just spell that out right there when you check out at SeatGeek. Here's what you do. You click the link in the description below. You sign up. You download the app. You go and you select your ticket, whether it's an NFL game, a WWE event, an AEW event, NBA, does not matter. SeatGeek's got you covered, and so do I, with $20 off your first purchase using the promo code REALTAKE. That is $20 in your wallet, in your hands, to do with whatever the hell you want to do. I'm not going to ask. I don't judge. I don't really care. But use the promo code, save yourself some money, and let's go to a fun show together. My second bold prediction is something that I'm sure is going to shock all of you, but dead wrestlers. Yup, you heard that right. WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia is almost guaranteed to feature dead professional wrestlers. And I know what you're wondering. Omer, what the do you mean dead professional wrestlers? Well, I am basing this off of two things. Number one, the fact that Saudi Arabia reportedly back in 2018, before they had this first big greatest Royal Rumble event, which was the genesis of the WWE Saudi Arabian partnership, they asked for two specific wrestlers to appear on that show. Of course, at that time, Saudi Arabia was making demands, and WWE, given the fact that Saudi Arabia was giving tens of millions of dollars per show to the company, was more than willing to oblige. They asked for Yokozuna and the Ultimate Warrior, both of whom had been dead for years up until that point. Hell, Yokozuna, R.I.P., died in 1999, guys. How out of touch are you from the product, Turkey Yellow Sheik? You combine that with the fact that we have come a very long way as far as technology goes ever since this partnership started. I think it's more than acceptable, it's more than likely that they will find a way to fit in a hologram or an AI version of dead professional wrestlers. If I were to guess, I would say that the Ultimate Warrior and Yokozuna might be up there as personal favorites of some people in the royal family. But the one person who I can tell you is the most likely dead wrestler you will see on that show will be Hulk Hogan. Yes, sir. When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside, AI is here to deliver the Hulkster in Riyadh season. And I think, obviously, given the fact that Hulk Hogan passed away very recently and he, to many people, is still a hero and is still a popular wrestler and a part of the cultural zeitgeist, I think a hologram version of Hulk Hogan is probably going to be at that show. Whether it's announcing a match or cutting a Hulkster promo, I could very well see that. I guess anything's on the table. And yeah, we've had holograms of like Tupac Shakur. They had an AI version of like Nicolas Cage or something in one of the last Superman movies before this really good one. Free Palestine, by the way. My number 3 bold prediction is less of a bold prediction, but more so of a spoiler for what's to come. But I expect Saudi Arabia's WrestleMania to be one of the biggest propaganda shows in sports entertainment history. If you go back and look at the history of professional wrestling propaganda shows, the big one that comes to mind is Collision in Korea in 1995, when WCW and New Japan Pro Wrestling went over to North Korea and held a major 2-night event in Pyongyang, North Korea. Yes, that actually did happen. Dark Side of the Ring did a great breakdown of it. I highly recommend you go check it out. I think that the version that we are going to get of a propaganda show in Riyadh, in Saudi Arabia, is going to be that on steroids. Because remember, in 1995, Collision in Korea did not benefit from the advent of the internet. North Korea was still a pretty isolated society then. You didn't really get much news out of there. You barely get any news out of there now, but you at least hear reports about what may or may not be going on. Back then, it was like dead, radio silent. But I think this one, we've already seen Saudi Arabia have a grip on WWE, and they have been able to get a lot of propaganda out of them. The Riyadh season advertisement is a big one. Even when they're not in Riyadh or Saudi Arabia in general, they're able to plug that big thing. You also have the fact that I think WWE is going to want to please the royal regime for giving them $200 million, reportedly. And it would make sense for them to just glaze the shit out of the royal family for the entirety of the show. Michael Cole is going to be on Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Shill mode. It is going to be like something you have never seen in your life. You thought the dude wipes at WrestleMania 40 were bad? Dog, just you wait until MBS's face is plastered all over the canvas at WrestleMania. It is going to be a wild one. You may not know this, but Ronaldo plays football in Saudi Arabia. Yes, of course. A couple of years ago, Cristiano Ronaldo, signed a major contract to become a player in the Saudi Arabian league, and he is one of their top paid players ever in the entire sport of soccer. He has an insane contract. He lives for free in the country. He has an exemption for his fiance to live in the same house as him, which speaks to kind of the freedom or lack thereof in Saudi Arabia. But again, I'm not here to judge. But point is, Ronaldo right now is a huge fixture in the propaganda purposes of Saudi Arabia. He is living in the country. He's at those games, and he is someone they tout out every single time they need to get good PR or they want to just show off. I fully expect Ronaldo to not only be at WrestleMania, but win a title at WrestleMania. Yes, you heard it here first. Cristiano Ronaldo will win a championship at WrestleMania. Now, whether that is the WWE Championship or the WWE Speed Championship, that is TBD. But I would think it would be the latter. It would make a lot of sense and a lot of buzz for Ronaldo to be involved in some way. We know that WrestleMania traditionally has a lot of celebrity involvement, and despite the fact that Saudi Arabia is hosting like comedians, they're hosting actors and all that kind of stuff, you have to wonder if there would be any trepidation from the usual suspects as far as WWE celebrities to go over and do something and a partnership in Saudi Arabia. But one person who I think you can lock in, who's already there, who the Saudi regime is already essentially paying to be there, is Ronaldo. It just makes all the sense in the world. For that reason, I think it will happen. My final bold prediction is that The Rock will return at WrestleMania 43 in Riyadh. And you can say that this is all but certain, but you also have to take into account The Rock right now is riding a high with his latest movie getting critical acclaim and even award buzz, and he's going off and doing another movie with Martin Scorsese. So his star is only rising in Hollywood, which means that his schedule is likely only to get busier and busier as the years go by. And The Rock has already said no to a match with Roman Reigns because of his busy schedule back, I believe, at Mania 39. We know that was the original plan for Mania 40 when The Rock decided he wanted to do it, but that, of course, did not end up happening because something Cody Rhodes. Anyway, but The Rock, I do believe, is another thing you can kind of lock into this. I think that The Rock is someone who values his time more than anything, but he values his time because it comes with a lot of money. And my God, if you think that John Cena or Undertaker check is going to be massive, you just wait till Saudi Arabia backs up the Brinks truck for The Rock. He is going to get paid more money than anyone has ever gotten paid to wrestle if he decides to show up. And I think if he decides to show up, there will be one of two people he will face. It will either be Roman Reigns, the big match that everyone has been waiting years for, the big match that the big dog promised a couple of years ago, the big match that they even teased on an episode of Young Rock. Point is, this match is the match you do if you have a chance to do it. I think it's something that both Roman and The Rock have had a desire to do for a long time. But the thing we need to remember is Roman nor The Rock are booking the show. Hell, Triple H might not even be booking the show. The people who are booking the show is the government of Saudi Arabia. And one thing I can tell you is, brought to you by the same people who wanted Ultimate Warrior and Yokozuna, the request will probably come in at some point. What if we have The Rock face Stone Cold Steve Austin? And I know what a lot of you are thinking. Omer, Stone Cold should have been included in the unretirements. Well, I had to say something for the end. Come on now. But yeah, I think if it's not Roman and Rock, I think Saudi Arabia is going to do the most Saudi Arabia thing ever when it comes to professional wrestling and request Stone Cold Steve Austin, which I don't even know what the hell that would look like. He wouldn't even be drinking beer. Would he be drinking, like, Coca-Cola? I mean, it's going to be crazy, man. Anyway, but Stone Cold, of course, has been retired ever since WrestleMania 38 when he came out of retirement for the first time in nearly 20 years to face Kevin Owens in what he said was his last match. He was even offered money to come out and be a part of WrestleMania 40 instead of The Undertaker in that spot where Undertaker chokeslammed The Rock, but he never showed up because he didn't feel like that was good for his character. And Austin is someone who I would usually exempt from being movable by money, but one thing we need to remember is there is an ungodly amount of money being thrown around for this show already. And I cannot imagine if the Saudi regime gets wind of a potential Stone Cold return, how much they would actually want it. I don't know how much Turkey El Sheik would want this. I think it would be a lot, but Stone Cold and The Rock is a dream match that has already happened a couple of times, 3 times at WrestleMania. I would hope we could leave it alone. Their last match at Mania 19 is a classic. Please go and watch that. But I feel, unfortunately, like they're going to try to force it. WWE is in a place right now where they care more about spectacle, they care more about hype, they care more about clicks, views, and all of that than they've ever cared about in their entire existence. So I know that was a pretty long video and it was pretty extensive, but I think this gives you a clear idea of some of the more wacky things that are on the table when it comes to WWE bringing WrestleMania to Riyadh. And before I go, I do want to say this. For all of the jokes that I've put out there, for all of the commentary, for all of the laughs, and you know how unserious some of this stuff was, one thing that is pretty serious is the fact that this is indeed a propaganda show. And whether or not, you watch it is up to you, and I implore you to not let everything in life take the fun out of the things you enjoy, but do think about these things critically when sharing them. Do think about these things critically when commentating them, and do think about the way that these governments and how they work and these deals that they make impact not only the people in that country, but the people in that area. And one thing I can tell you personally is that I think that the government of Saudi Arabia, which of course is different than the people, which CM Punk will tell you otherwise, but that's a whole different can of worms. I think that it is very clear what is happening with this deal with WWE and Saudi Arabia. If you want to learn more about how corrupt it is, why it happens, why it's considered a propaganda show, I've linked some resources in the description that you guys should check out. Please consider doing that and open your mind to something potentially new. Anyway, before we head out, though, I do have to shill for a second, so I'm going to shamelessly do that. If you guys want to get access to some awesome content, some exclusive videos, be sure to click the join button, become a member for as little as $5 a month. You can support a young, budding creator like me and get access to some dope videos like this one early and often. So please consider doing that. But also remember to leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I'm Omer Q, a.k.a. Big Om, for Real Take Wrestling. Be happy, be healthy, and as always, keep it real.